Maybe you feel totally fine around your friends, but then around people you like, you get quiet and awkward. You overthink every move, you don't know what to say, and afterwards you regret that you couldn't just be yourself. Until you understand why this keeps happening, you'll keep missing out on the deeper connections that you really want. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's going on beneath the surface. A new way to respond that puts you back in control, and how this can impact all of your relationships. You can be seen for who you are and finally stop feeling stuck in your own head. So this experience of being awkward around people you like, I have dealt with this a lot in my work. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've also dealt with it in my own experience. I wrote a book about the whole thing and the ways that I've been coming up with how to help with this. So I had this guy come in to see me a little while ago, and he told me, I just had a party the other day, and when I was around my friends, I was doing well. I was making jokes, I was asking questions, I was warm, I was connected. And then whenever somebody I liked joined the group, I would suddenly shut down. And I got why that was so painful for him, because she didn't get to see who he really was. Everybody else was getting to see him with all his strengths. He wanted to know, why is this happening? What can I do about it? When we are around people that we know like us and accept us, then we feel fine because we don't have to monitor how we're coming across. I'm around people who accept me, who love me. I can just be me. I don't have to worry about anything getting in the way. I can just let it flow spontaneously. But if somebody comes in and, oh no, wait, I actually care how that person sees me, then our attention goes onto ourselves and things start to become unnatural and we can't be spontaneous in the same way. In general, if you stare at yourself when you're doing anything, you make yourself more uncomfortable and you make yourself feel awkward. It is literally self-conscious. You are conscious of yourself. And it's just like if someone else were to be staring at you doing something, it's going to make you more uncomfortable and awkward because you all of a sudden you're processing, wait, how am I doing this, right? And the classic thing is like the hands, right? Our hands go wherever our hands go all day long. But then all of a sudden we're standing in front of people and we're like, I don't know what to do with these things. We become hesitant, right? Because we are kind of being defensive. And so the hesitance is what awkwardness is. That's how awkwardness comes out. Somebody can do the wrong thing, but if they own it, it's not going to look awkward. It's not going to look uncomfortable. They'll look very confident. They'll just be doing the wrong thing. And I have a friend who's like this all the time. He doesn't know which way he's going, and so he just picks a direction and he confidently walks off in that direction. He doesn't seem awkward. He's just going in the wrong direction. This is a key piece of it. That awkwardness comes out of the hesitance of not owning what you're doing, not owning where you are, not owning what you're saying. The most effective way I've found to get this across is with a metaphor. Picture writing. Somebody who's a writer and they're getting into the flow. Do you think when a writer's getting into the flow and they're coming up with their story and the ideas are coming and do you think that they have invited the editor to sit next to them in that writing session and be like, no, 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 wait, stop. No, actually, no, wrong word. Should we? No, no, let's try that again. Do you think that's how they do it? No. The system for writers is you are supposed to get into the mindset of flow, of where everything's coming out and it's natural, it's spontaneous. It allows you to use your whole self and you're expressing it naturally. And then later, you kind of turn on the editor brain. And then the editor gets in and kind of, gets the red pen and crosses things out and circles bits. If you were to do it otherwise, it'd be stilted. You'd get no momentum. You wouldn't, like, all the good stuff wouldn't come out because you're being cut off too soon. And that is what we do to ourselves in social situations. If we bring this editor in with a red pen and they're like cutting stuff off and they're filtering, we can't be natural. We can't be spontaneous. We don't think of all the things that we would creatively think of. That editor is like too harsh. And that makes us feel awkward. That makes anything we do seem wrong. We can't be ourselves. So I explained this writer-editor metaphor to my client. And he got it. He had been through writing. He understood the concept. But he's like, if I don't edit myself though, I'm going to screw up. Like, they're not going to like me, they're going to reject me, I'm going to screw up in some way. I'm like, let's test it out. Like, let's actually put this to the test with an experiment. So we had 2 conversations. In the first one, I'm like, bring the editor. Let's see what a conversation is like when you are editing as you go. And then let's have a second conversation where we are banning the editor. You are in a safe environment. Let's just test what happens if you don't edit beyond the blatantly offensive. So we did these 2 experiments. I asked him, what were the results for you? And he's like, yeah, that second conversation without the editor went much better. It was so easy. I was much more relaxed. A lot more things came to mind. We bounced around to different topics. He actually said, yeah, not only was he more comfortable, but he's like, well, I performed better when I wasn't editing myself all the time. And that's exactly how this works. We let out that better version of ourselves. We let out really our true self, our more natural, spontaneous self, the self that our friends and our families get to see, that we then cut off with our editor. So I told him, go and do this in real life. Don't just test it out with me. Try to drop that editor more and more, like filter less and less stuff out, and then just go see what happens. I eagerly waited for him to come back in. He came back in the next week, and the same thing had happened. He just connected better with people. And the reason why is because when we're editing, when we're filtering ourselves, we do become awkward, but that awkwardness is that we're not showing ourselves. We're not actually owning who we are. That hesitancy is us cutting ourselves off so that other people don't really see who we are. What he found over time is that the less he edited, the more he put himself out there for others to see, the more that of him there was to connect with. And that's what really mattered. And that's really why this is such a big problem. It sucks to feel awkward, but it sucks more to be editing yourself out so that people can't connect with you. That is really the big change here. This is one of the core ideas around this whole topic, which is the protections themselves prevent connection. By the way, I am planning to do an online workshop related to these topics, but I really want to tailor it to what you would find most helpful. So if you'd like to date and connect with more confidence, then click on the link below. It'll take you to a form where you can give me your input and help shape the direction of the workshop. I really appreciate that so many of you have already filled out that form and given us information. So I really appreciate that. Let's keep going with this. People do ask me, of course, what if I show more of myself and I'm less edited and then the person is critical or they don't like me? And I always say, great. Like, you want to know pretty early on, is this a relationship where you are allowed to be who you actually are? I know a lot of people, myself included, who have tried to have relationships where only a heavily edited version of ourselves is acceptable. It does not work, and we tend to be really unhappy. So the sooner we find out if that's the case, the better it is. We're gathering information and we want to know one very, very important piece of information. Can I be who I am in this relationship? This is the power of what I call self-fidelity, which is knowing who you are in the moment and then owning it regardless of whether people like it or not. This is really, to me, the heart of self-confidence. It is intimidating and scary to drop those protections, to edit less, because we don't know what reaction we're going to get. And inevitably, like, it does hurt to be criticized or disapproved of. We're just built that way. And for a lot of us, like myself included, we've had experiences where we've taken the risk to show who we are, and then we're around the wrong people and they do attack or criticize. And that makes us feel like we have to be edited all the time. And this is especially true if you grew up in households where who you authentically are was criticized a lot. It just makes this harder and scarier, but the payoff is so important. Like the ability to be seen and liked, accepted, loved for who you actually are is so fundamental and it's so important that it's worth taking these small steps to test it out. So, what you've just watched is a powerful first step, but it's just the beginning. So, if you want to genuinely grow in your self confidence and create the kind of relationships where you feel seen and valued, well, then this next video will show you how to take it even further by building that self fidelity and learning to fully own who you are.